And we're live. What's shaking, killers? It's Wednesday, December the 11th. And check in on the Deepin news for, as we cruise into the holidays. I think the kind of funny thing is that there's not any massive news cruising into the holidays. Just most people after Thanksgiving are not working. I don't know. Or not working as hard, not pushing stuff out as hard. Although I will say that I think I'm talking with Alireza. It was going to be right after this, but it'll be tomorrow from NATIX. So that'll be super cool to see that. Let's see. I just met up with Renee over at the Crypto Council. Super interesting to see what's going on in policy land there, and how those folks are approaching basically informing policymakers, lawmakers, the rest of it as to what's happening in Deepin, and making sure that they understand, the policymakers understand what the haps is. So that was pretty cool to see that. I think we can tend to get sucked into our little Deepin worlds and think like, oh, I'm just gonna drive more miles on Hivemapper, or get more bursts or whatever it is, or put more, etc. Miners up. And there's a much bigger picture out there, making sure that the kind of laws of at least of the American nation are favorable to crypto, and super cool to see groups doing that. So really good to get to hang out with those guys and talk through and give them my perspective on both kind of small one-off installations as well as some fleet stuff. We'll see what comes out of that. I think they'll publish results from the study they're doing sometime in February, and I'll see if I can get Renee to come on and chat a little bit about that on this show. Okay, let's see, Onakoi land, what is going on there? Ooh, maybe I can do. I might have to go back to this guy. Here we go, and you'll just get me. So let's see, Onakoi here. What's up, Fred? Let's see. I talked about this a while ago. They've got the rewards estimator tool. They're getting closer to TGE. I don't think it's going to happen by the end of the year. I'm actually pretty sure it's not, but don't quote me on that. But just interesting to keep going with them. I still have them right there. The Spark Fun unit. I'm actually going to go up this morning and replace the antenna, the $1,500 antenna with a $4,000 antenna. And we'll see how much of a difference those things make. That's been super cool to see how that goes down. But if you want to see how much a unit might make in your area, there should be a link in the description, but just check out the rewards estimator tool, go to their console, drop a pin, and see what's going to work for you. In anyone news, I got my third piece of hardware installed it. They've got now 10,000 daily active users. I think that's a pretty big deal. All of these Deepins, you've got to have someone actually using the network, and it's super good to see that they've got a bunch of folks using their network. I know it's been super fun to and complicated to figure out how you transfer the NFT to be the thing that you bought, which is a relay NFT, over to a relay up NFT, which is the thing that you redeem when you get your hardware, and then pay all the crazy Ethereum fees, even though they're not that much. It is extra, and then redeem out the ATOR that is now anyone. So it's, if you had an NFT, or if you have an NFT, I would say, what's up, Derek? Make sure you understand how to jump through all the hoops and that your unit is earning. Once you're up and earning, it's easy. They've been pretty much bomb-proof. And then for those of you like Derek who have ordered them off the second kind of big sale, I'm pretty sure they're not doing anything to do with the NFT. And so that'll just be way easier for you. It should be a plug-and-play experience. But it's been fun for me to kind of figure out all of the, all the aspects of that. Let's see. In Helium news, we got a bunch of different things going on. They just updated their website. What's up, Enviromine? So they've got this new thing that says own the air. I'm not totally sure that I'm on board with that, but hey, anything that Helium does, I'm supportive of. I think what they're doing is awesome. And obviously they help to really popularize and build the Deepin system. So, going for it. I'm not sure that the own the air message is clear enough. I think with all of the Deepins out there, it might be misconstrued as owning the air in an environmental sense, or owning the air above your house, which is just kind of weird. I understand. What's up, Zim? That they mean own the air your wireless communications are going over, but maybe that's not everybody. Let's see. They've got 88,000 gigabytes of data offload, 10,000 new users. So super cool to see the kind of crypto numbers coming in as like, hey, this is a project where they're actually getting serious traction. It's not just 200 people. Same kind of thing with anyone. Where once you get up into the multiple tens of thousands, that's super good. I think Helium announced they've got 116,000 subscribers at the $20 a month plan. You can do that math. That should be a good amount of money coming in for them per month. Hopefully it's enough to keep growing. Keep going. And then on the IoT side, I'm finalizing the grant for the demo dashboard. So I've been working a ton on that. What's up, Siegfried? Getting that thing ready right now. I think I just started working on it before they approved it because I'm pretty sure it'll go through. I've had some other stuff going on at Paleo Treats, so I'm a little bit behind, but I'm still on the tunnel, the Cloudflare tunnel, to go to the Raspberry Pi in the house and then back out and push out a dashboard. So super fun stuff to do. I'm about halfway through the tutorial, but yeah, really cool stuff going on there. Let's see, over in Hivemapper land, they have announced, it's just cool to see those guys announce new bursts pretty much every week. I know that one week I had been responsible for a couple of those bursts, but they got a bunch in California and Arizona. I think you could, if you wanted to do some kind of, not investigative journalism, but if you wanted to poke around, it'd be pretty interesting to figure out who is buying those bursts and why. And that might give you some kind of cool business advantage ideas. DIMO's big news is that they're migrating to base. So that'll happen over the next, couple months. Really cool to see that as well. What's up, 619? I paid in crypto to extend my phone plan, and then Sol went up. Do you think I can get a refund? No, I don't think you can get a refund. I think that's out. And I think that's what you got to be not careful with crypto, but crypto is just so daggum volatile that paying in crypto for anything, you've just got to realize, like, hey, what I'm paying now, if it's $100 now, it's probably going to be worth $1,000 in 2 years, and it'll probably be worth $1 in 3 years. So just know what you're getting into. And 619, I know you know as well as anyone what you're getting into. Let's see. After DIMO, we've got not Wingbits, but Spexi. Spexi's got 25 new missions in the greater Victoria area. I know Keenan is our resident Canadian here, so if you can jump in and explain where Victoria is in the great state of Canada, America's hat. I just can't resist, buddy. I'm sorry. Yeah, super cool to see that Spexi continues to put out new missions for people. Like, they're just growing. They're getting more requests from customers for places, and they're turning that over to the community. That's how the whole thing should work. Let's see. Oh yeah, Derek's getting ahead of me here. So I'm on Spexi. Let's do Srcful next. There we go. I think they had a small problem yesterday. They fixed it. They've got beta points that have been distributed out. So I'm interested because I haven't participated a ton in the Srcful program. If you've gotten them, I'd love to hear about it in the chat. Let me know what's going on. All the chat comments that I see, by the way, if you're watching this on Twitter, I only see the comments on YouTube. Or on Twitch, I only see the YouTube stuff. I just haven't been sophisticated enough to figure out how to get all the comments feeding into one place. Although I actually think the Twitch comments feed into my YouTube message feed or comment feed. What's up, Tyson's Tech? Let's see, Weather XM. I skipped Wingbits because they didn't have any new news. A super fun project, and I talked about them with the Crypto Council. I made sure that Crypto Council knew about all the folks that I knew about. So obviously Helium, Weather XM had actually introduced me to Crypto Council. So they knew about that. They wanted to get some pictures of the Weather XM station at the house and also at the shop. And then I think we skipped past going out to one of my favorite places to put weather stations, which is out in the hills of San Diego. But yeah, they saw a bunch of that stuff. Weather XM is running a 15% discount on their Helium hotspot, which is made by SenseCap, or the SenseCap station, the WS2001. I'm not sure if that's different than WS2000. Jesus, you got 100-mile-an-hour winds yesterday in San Diego. 609. Yeah, I guess that is why my fingers and face has been so damn dry as we're getting these Santa Anas in, would be my guess. If you want to buy a Weather XM station, 15% off should be linked down in the description. I'm pretty sure that's not an affiliate one. Interestingly, the Wi-Fi Weather XM station I've got on my house, where you can actually see the station right there, that is, I don't know, 30 feet from the station, maybe 40 feet from the station. That's got like a 98% uptime. The Helium station that's on the top of the Paleo Treats shop has 100% uptime. And then the Helium station that's out in the hills is like an 88% uptime. So I would have thought that the Helium stations would just get less uptime. But as long as there's good coverage, and there is, they appear to get more uptime. Let's see, NATIX. I'll be talking to those guys. Do I have a NATIX? Oh no, I don't. I thought I did. Nope, I don't. Oh yeah, there it is. NATIX. Yep. I'll be talking to Alireza tomorrow. The last time I talked to him was in May, and they had just released their Google Play, or their Android app. So super excited to hear what he's got coming down the pipe. I know that their token burn continues to climb. And then the last piece that I've got for today is in Silencio land. They announced that they've got 400,000 sensors worldwide. I'd seen some folks on X bragging about their Silencio points. And so I looked at ours, and it turns out we've got a good chunk. So thanks to mainly to Kevin at Flywheel Systems for doing all the referrals on that. I think that's where the majority of ours came from, but that's pretty cool. Let's see. Derek is asking, Srcful, can Daylight Plural run alongside? I imagine so. I haven't done anything with either or any of those. And then is WeatherXM Helium? Yeah, WeatherXM has a Helium station. Last thing I've got is, where are we on time? This may be the fastest one we've done yet. No, we're still at 10:45. Check out Flywheel Systems if you're looking to deploy deep-in stations. Kevin is super good at that stuff. He ran a giant fleet for Helium. He's got a really good idea of what's going on there. There should be a link down in the description to that. And that is all of the big deep-in news that I was able to kind of scrape off of my usual sources. So you get it in, it was 10 minutes or less. I think it was aimed for 15 minutes or less, but now it's 11. So, or we did it under 11. So that's the deep in news. I've got a ton of other stuff going on, mostly in like search engine optimization land for Paleo Treats, and then for another project I've going. I think some of that might bleed over into Gold Hawks and Gristle King land, but there's not a ton of other stuff that I've got. So we might cut this one pretty short. Let's see, if you're asking about mine, that's the Wi-Fi version. Oh no, I think this is 619 is asking, talking to Derek. Okay. Let me see if I missed any messages or comments. I think Zim, when you're ready to bring your project up here and talk about it, you know I'm ready for that. I'd actually meant to reach out to you earlier and ask if you wanted to come on this show, but I'm pretty sure that your particular project is not ready. So what else? Yeah, I think that's most of it. It's just looking around at in the deep-in world. It's just most people are either heads down and building, or they're just kind of cruising into Christmas. I'm sure none of them appreciate me saying that, but just looking at the news that's coming out, looks like a lot of stuff is not quite. Yeah, it's like the news that they're putting out is not as like the active news, like, oh, we just got this, that, or the other. Aside from the big ones we've covered here. Okay, I think that's most of the stuff I've got. I've got a ton of stuff to go into today. Outside of general deep-in land, although I'm trying to think of the big stuff for deep-in. It's mostly the Helium grant that I've got to just sit down and grind through this Cloudflare tunnel and get that so that the information can come from the Helium LNS to my Raspberry Pi securely without opening up my Pi to the wider world. And then the Pi runs a dashboard and pushes it out to a subdomain of Medio Scientific that is public, and that will also require, I believe, a Cloudflare tunnel, although I'm not sure if I should use some, I don't even know how you say it, Nginx, whatever. Maybe that's a better way to do it, but I've got to figure that stuff out. So that's the dealio. That's what I'll be doing on the back end here. Let's see. Regarding WeatherXM, I'm curious which is the best way to go, Helium or Wi-Fi. I used to say if you had Wi-Fi, it's much better to go that way just because it's more stable. But I found if you have a Helium hotspot on site, in my limited experience, the Helium has more uptime, but it's by 1%. So that's, Nginx is how you say it. Yeah, we can do that. Ooh, Zim. Maybe next week we're going to come on and talk Wi-Fi. Yeah, that would be rad. I know we're super close to the end of that. I think the other thing that I'm seeing that's interesting to me personally, and I think will also be interesting to the world outside of deep-in, is that with the Helium sensors and with the dashboard project I'm building, there ends up being some pretty cool integrations with Shopify that you can do. And I'm assuming with Toast and any of the other POS or point of sale units, where you can start to say, okay, how many people are walking through the door using a Helium powered people counter, and then tie that to how many sales am I getting, which you should typically track on a sales register, but sometimes the cash sales won't track as easily, or they're more of a pain in the ass. Or you've got more people coming in the door that don't do anything on the register. They just come in and look around and figuring out, all right, for the number of people coming in the door, how do I get more of them to buy something? And just putting some data behind that. and then tying that to really specific things for every person who comes to the door. How many donuts do we sell? How many cakes do we sell? How many treats do we sell? How many coffees do we sell? All that stuff. If we look at now, we're starting to really integrate what's going on in IoT world with what's going on in normal retail world. And that starts being pretty darn interesting. So at least for me as a small business owner and saying, okay, we've got all these people coming in. If I'm there at the shop every day, I get a pretty good gut feeling for it. If I'm not there at the shop every day, if we've got folks who are working and they're running whatever their shift is, and I'm not there, the only thing that I get to see is the total number of sales. I don't get to see how many people came in the door. And so I think, or the queue length, does it, do we typically have longer lines at whatever, noon to 2? Do we need to put more employees on during that time? That starts to get super interesting. And if you can tie all of that stuff together and either put it in some kind of dashboard or some kind of digestible piece. And I know that Thomas at Tinkcart and Nick Huff at Lake Street have both told me that nobody ever looks at dashboards. So I want to believe both those guys. What's up, Kevin? It would be nice for me as a business owner. I don't care how I see it. It doesn't have to be that fancy looking, although it's always nice when it's fancy looking. But if I can see, oh shit, on Wednesdays or Thursdays or whatever it is, Saturdays, you're way busier from 12 to 2. You should actually have 2 folks on staff instead of just 1, so that you can process all the sales and get them through faster. And that will be worth bringing that extra person on, paying that hourly wage. That starts to get super, super interesting. And just making the business grow more efficiently. I think there's some other stuff as well, as far as, and this is just outside of Helium or general deep-in integrations. Although if you're counting people who are walking by the store versus counting people who are coming in the store, that gets pretty interesting. If you're also monitoring the freezer temps, which I'm doing right now with the Wi-Fi unit, but could just as easily do with the Helium or LoRaWAN unit. And I know Nick at Lake Street had built something for that. Is now we start to integrate like all the data in a business, and it's getting to the point where it's easy enough, and not hopefully, I'll be helping out with this dashboard grant, is it's getting easier and easier for small businesses to say, okay, instead of running this thing on kind of gut instincts, now I can start to put some data to this and say, for these marketing pushes that we're putting out, how many people are walking in the door, like how well is it actually working? And then what specifically can I do better? So that starts to get really good for small business, which I think, so many businesses in America are the small business. Right now, IoT is really the realm of big business, where they have someone on staff who's an IoT nerd who can figure out, okay, we got 10,000 trucks or 30,000 pallets or 9,000 packages or whatever it is. Like, okay, it does make sense right now to pay someone full time to do that. If we can start to show the average small business owner, hey, here's exactly how you do this. Here's how it makes a difference for your business. Here's what I did in my business, and here's what you can do in yours. That starts to drive a lot more, I think, adoption across the board. Rufus, an AI agent. Okay, great. Sent by Dojan on Mars at Elon. What's up, Ricky Ricardo, crypto? Jesus. What's up, Rufus? I know we had a lady last week who said she's going to be at more of these things, but I haven't seen her in the comments yet. So I think that's most of it. What else did I see this week? We had a Deep in Space with the Wolf Crypto guys. I think they've got another one next week. Those ones are always fun to jump in on and see what's shaking across the world. I think it's always also good to see there. You get a lot of folks who are pretty new to crypto. And for those of us who've been in this space for a while, we can kind of forget that not everybody knows about Helium. Not everybody understands how Onakoi works. Not everybody understands how a lot of these sensor networks works. They don't have a great understanding of this. Now, I am seeing on the Wolf crypto things that they are getting much more savvy folks coming in who are really looking into the business case of this. And sometimes even for those people, just because they haven't been deep in, it's difficult for them to understand some of the intricacies of it. So it's super cool to come on this and say, hey, this is how this thing works, and here's the back end of it, and here's what they're doing, whether it's anyone or Onakoi or Helium or whatever it is. So super cool to just to see in general the space growing. Okay, I think that's probably enough for today. We can cut this thing off at 20 minutes, and now I got to go crush. We got new employees that we're doing super cool training with at PT, and it's always good to give those guys a ton of time. If you have anything for me in the meantime, you're always welcome to jump on whatever it is, YouTube here or X, where this is pushing. No, what's up, Zim? What do you want to talk about? I'll sit and talk if you want to, but if you got something, I'll hit it. I know that Gray Hat just posted that giant laser thing. Where the dude is like blasting lasers and cutting barn doors in half from 40 yards. But I'm not sure how deep in that is. What's Wolf, Derek? Wolf, I think it's Wolf Crypto. It might be Wolf 3 Crypto or Wolf Web 3 on X, they are super active in putting on these Twitter spaces. So good place to cruise in and learn if you're super new about what's going on in crypto. Yeah, I think that's most of it. What else is there? I've got this grant idea for like a mapper, and I know that mappers are out there, and I wish Joey was on here because he would tell me like, no, the mapper that we have is super easy. But what I found in this specific instances I've seen when I was working for WeatherXM, as an example, they would have the same question that Derek had. Do you have is there helium coverage in my area? And I would like to see something that's like $20 that you can order online, comes to your door as a little handheld thing, and you push a button and you look at the screen, and maybe it's on Wi-Fi, maybe it's connected to your phone. There's some pretty complicated nerd shit that happens in the background, but you could see for $20 is it like a one-time cost for it, and then you just use DCs on helium, see like, oh, there is enough coverage here or there isn't. As an example, the helium powered WeatherXM station I've got out in the hills has an 88% connection rate, which is good enough to tell me the weather. It's not good enough to maintain a good GPS lock. And so that thing doesn't earn anything. Now, do I care that much if every single one of my miners earns, at maximum? Not if it's delivering good weather data to me, which is what I put that thing for. But I can see how that would be super upsetting if you spent $400 on that thing expecting that you're going to get your money back in tokens, and it doesn't connect enough. It's like it connects enough to provide the data, but doesn't connect enough to provide the GPS. I could see someone being pissed and being like, fuck this, I didn't get in this for the weather data, I got in this for the tokens. And if you've just been able to take out a little handheld in there early and push a button, leave it there for 10 minutes, and it blasts out a ton of signal, and then you come back and it says, hey, this thing will connect for less than 90% of the time. Not advised to put in a deep-in device that requires, whatever it is, 98% uptime, et cetera, et cetera. That might make it a little bit easier. There are definitely devices like that exist. The Glamos is one. The thing's awesome, but it's $300. And I think for the kind of casual user who's, wants just to spend $300 on a miner and not on a sensor specifically for helium, because that's all that would be generally good for, that's not a compelling enough thing. If you're an IoT professional, get a Glamos. Those things are rad. But there's a subscription with that as well. And I know that there's also pretty big backlash to subscriptions across the board. I know that as I've gotten more nerdy and realized that for a lot of these things, I can just build my own thing and avoid a subscription, entirely. That is way more appealing to me because those subscriptions all add up. It's like, $5 a month, $20 a month, $18 a month. And all of a sudden it's like, shit, I'm paying $600 a month on subscriptions for something that I use once or twice a month. That's not that tenable. So interesting stuff going on there. Okay. I think that's all I got, Zim. You are a small percent though. Small percent. Oh, of building our own stuff. I think, Zim, here's the thing is that if it were easier for people to find, and certainly with ChatGPT making it easier for people to do it, if they can think of it themselves, so they want something, and then they have the realization that they could build it, and then they've got an example of someone else that's built it, even if that's a small percent of extra boost because the numbers are so big, whatever it is, 350 million people in the United States, you don't need that big of a percentage of folks realizing that they can be empowered to do that to make a pretty big difference to the network. So when am I going to build a Plex server and cut the cord? I don't know what a Plex server is, so probably not this week. Fuck Netflix. Yeah. And I think we've got a Netflix thing because Lee watches it when she does her art. But yeah, I think there's what else have I got? I was looking at putting in a NAS. Maybe that's the same thing as a Plex server, but I've got so many projects to do that it's just not getting done. Oh, it's Pirate TV. Now, I'm not interested in pirating stuff. I'm more interested in making sure that I don't pay for stuff that I don't need to pay for. I mean, a great example is that Shopify. If you've ever run a shop on Shopify, there's a ton of apps that make it really easy to do and or see whatever it is that you want to do and or see. However, if you just take some time and get maybe one of those apps, the Mechanic app, or just look with ChatGPT and build your own thing, there's an integration that you can do with Shopify on your own. And so if you have ChatGPT walk you through it, instead of paying some app developer, which super cool. Like some people don't have the time to do this, and I get that. And that's to Zim's point, not everyone's going to do this. Yeah, this is kind of the same thing that I did this a couple months ago Fred, is I cleaned up all my subs and I cut off maybe the same, maybe a little bit more, but it's just like, shit, there's a ton of stuff I'm paying for that I don't need to pay for. And there's a lot of stuff, A, you just don't need it. But B, if you're just willing to do, I don't know, let's say call it like 2 to 6 hours of work on a, whenever you want to do it, weekend, weekday, you can just cut out a sub forever. And so if you want to do the math, that's, yeah. It's Linux ISO movies. Good God. Monster is almost a NAS. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, it's been sitting back there like doing nothing for a while because I've got all these plans for it, and then I get I get sidetracked on something else. I've got some super cool plans for it right now where I want it to be feeding in, a ton of, like, creating and feeding in a ton of content to the to a website. But yeah, not really relevant to this convo. So at a pass to SeaWorld and everyone went this year. What do you mean it's better? What's better? Plex is a media server. Okay, I'm catching up on the comments. So this thing, and this thing, That's what's going on in the background. All right, killers. I'm going to drop. I will see you guys next week. Rock and roll. I'm out.